What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, people? Top of the morning, to everybody out there. I see you, Mr. Adams. Now, let's touch on this for a moment because this situation is crazy. When this was breaking yesterday, my phone is hitting up people talking about, respond, man. You got to respond to this. See, no, where you at? Dog, Jimmy got poked up. They got Jimmy. So people were freaking out. I mean, absolutely freaking out over this. And I said, well, let me find out what's going on first. Right. So everybody from Tupac fan, everybody was hitting me up like, they got Jimmy. People was like, yeah, he ain't gonna make it. I'm out for the night. Like, I'm out doing what I do. Shut down, right? The whole night. Shut down South. We in shutdown mode. So I was like, wait a minute. Why you ask that, J Cash? That was pretty random. But why did you ask that? Well, there was a lot of different people that was asking questions. And when people start asking a lot of questions, it was like, whoa, what's going on? So 50 put up a post of Jimmy and started laughing and said, Jimmy the rat got poked up in the joint. It's hard to be tough around tough ninjas. Right? So now this is finna become a thing. You know it is. Once 50 posts something or retweet something, it's finna be a problem. It's gonna go viral no matter what. So when he did this, Jimmy the Rat got poked up in the joint, posted that 12 hours ago. The whole internet went crazy. And I was wondering myself, I said, that's weird that nobody I know, not one person from New York that I know that know Jimmy, that got connections and ties with Jimmy, would not hit my phone up with something. That was weird. I said, that's pretty weird. Not one of them said anything. So I'm like, maybe they keeping this, close to the chest until something happens. Until they find out what's what. Or it might be repercussions or something happening. Because I'm like, normally these dudes would have said something. You know what I'm saying? If something happened to Jimmy like that, somebody would have said something. And that's what my whole mind is like gone because of that fact. So I'm like, 50 posted something that wasn't true. When somebody calls and said, that's not true. That's not true. I was like, it's not true. He was like, blood, it's not true. I'm not a blood, but they call me blood. Like, for some reason, I'm young blood. Young blood, that ain't true. So that's where it went from there. Now, if you're familiar with the whole Jimmy situation, right? Jimmy went away for life for Lodi Mac situation, but he was not known for playing games. And the Tupac situation, Jimmy got popped up. Tupac got hit. So everybody that know Tupac blamed Jimmy Henchman, and Jimmy went down with his alleged affiliation with drugs and the Lodi Mac situation. So if you're aware of the situation and you're aware, Jimmy was a very powerful man on the streets. Like nobody in New York was battling or rocking against Jimmy. All right? It just wasn't happening. A lot of other people say stuff, but they weren't rocking against Jimmy. Well, you got to understand when people start saying different things that they're applying to, you're looking at right, you looking at all the connections to it, right? You looking at the reactions. Mm-mm-mm. Well, when you dealing with things that's like I said, once you dealing with things that's not on the up and up, you know what you're gonna be faced with. You're always gonna be faced with some nonsense. No, somebody sending me a message. That's why I'm like, what the hell? They like, yo, you gotta see this, I'm like, all right. This call is from a federal prison. You will not be. They don't realize I'm covering the same thing they talking about right now. So it's funny. That's what's crazy. I'm covering the same thing they saying, you gotta check this out, bro. I'm like, covering that. As we speak, I'm live. It's like somebody asking you to review something and the video's already done. I'm like, dude, video's out. I already got the video out. But anyway, Jimmy's a street dude, right? Everybody knows Jimmy is a street guy. So when he put that out on Instagram, this is what we got back. Supreme Son.
This call will be recorded and subject to monitoring at any time. To accept this call, press 5. To block this, you may begin speaking now.
Yo, what's going on? What's going on, Jimmy?
Oh man, ain't nothing, my brother. Everything good?
Man, everything is everything, man. Yo, man, talk to me, man. I can hear it in your voice already, man. Like, yo, this shit is crazy, man.
Well, liars always be liars, and when people always listen to rappers, that's what they gonna get. They gonna get a bunch of lies, right? Especially lying ass rappers. But at
Yo,
the end of the day, I'm well and fine, brother.
you good, right? And that joint is a false rumor, right?
False rumor all the way, man. I've been down 15 years, and ain't nothing has happened to me, man. And so, and let's make sure that people are clear. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I ain't never been to no PC. I ain't never been ran up. Nothing ain't never happened to me. No, I ain't never even had an argument since I've been down. So all this stuff about this the second time this liar done put a rumor out there that I got stabbed up, right? I'm fine and well, brother. I'm in population. Ain't nothing wrong with me. It's all love over here, man.
What?
Only concern is coming home, man.
Exactly.
Back to my family.
Why you think that he keep putting them lies out there about you? Like, what is it? Like, what do you think it is?
It don't even matter, right? They tricked me once and got me in prison. They not gonna trick me no more. All he is a bait trap for the police, and I'm not biting. I'm not biting.
Word.
You know what I'm saying?
I got like 15 calls about the whole situation when he posted that joint, because he got me blocked on his page, so I can't even see it. But 15 people called me, and I'm like, oh man, I hope OG ain't no. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, yo, that it gotta be a lie. Ain't nothing happening to Jimmy in there, man.
Trust me, there'd have been dudes in the penitentiary calling, saying something happened to me.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing happened to me, brother. In the 15 years that I've been down, right? See, some guys would never survive in my situation. They couldn't survive this. Trust me, I can survive this, man. Yes. Ain't nothing going on this side. Just because a person says something doesn't mean that it's true, right? And that's what these guys are used to now. And when street guys are listening to rappers and everything that they say is true, this is what they'll do. They'll put rumors out there, false statements, and all kind of stuff. But they're going to have to get up a whole lot earlier than that to trick me again. And I'm not being tricked. I'm not biting at the bait. But I'm cool. Everything is good with me, and it's all love, man. I'm here, man.
I appreciate. Yeah, no, for sure, man. Appreciate the call, man. I'm glad everything is good with you now. I look forward to seeing you when you touch down, man. I know you'll be touching down real soon, inshallah. So, word.
Inshallah, things will work out, man. You know, and they design is to make sure I don't come home. My design and my job is to get there. So let them keep doing shaitan work and doing what they do. I'm going to keep doing what I do, and that's getting home back to my family and not letting these dudes.
This call is from a federal prison.
Not letting these dudes trick me again, trick me out of my freedom.
Right.
And they definitely can't trick me out of my life.
Right.
All they could do is get me locked up. And so it's all love, brother. It's all good, man. Tell your pops I said what's up, and it's all love, all right?
Love. Peace, Jimmy.
All right.
Now he's saying Jimmy Henchman exposing the clown for lying. Now, here's what people don't understand. 50 Cent never started this. Fifth never started this, y'all. 50 Cent is not the one that started it. Somebody else had posted it, and he just went with it because somebody else had posted it. And when 50 get a hold of it, it just take off. Because 50 wasn't the first person I heard say that Jimmy got poked. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it is. Now, the Lodi Mac situation, like they all coexisted. Like when the game was with, G Unit and everything, and they put them in G Unit, he was managed by Jimmy Henchman. So they already didn't like each other pretty much because of the Chris Lighty situation. So, they just kept it, what it was. It was business. They had no problems with each other on that standpoint. They just didn't like each other. And the situation that you saw in Power, that you guys know nothing about really, is if you've seen the situation in Power where Kanan is about to shoot Tyreek in the back of the head, when they sitting there until he finds out he don't like ghosts. You know when that situation happened on Power? I'm quite sure you remember that, right? Where he was talking about Breeze, lured him in the house, and all these things, right? 50 Cent got family members that don't like him. Remember the movie? He had a cousin that was rapping back in the day. Remember Get Rich or Die Trying, that cousin that he lived with, who was older than him? And he was trying to be a rapper. You remember that, right? And he was like, they was whack. And he said that in the movie. And he's like, yeah, he ended up changing his name later to 25 cents. Well, 25 cents was going to be 0 cents because he walked into Jimmy Henchman's office with Jimmy people, not knowing how dangerous the situation was between them. They just knew he was related to 50, not knowing he was about to be killed in that room. He thinking he's finna sign up with their management. Jimmy Henchman's gonna manage it. This setup was meant to end this fool's life. He didn't meet him in the office. He met them somewhere where they could leave his ass, and that was gonna be the end of him. Then he goes in there and starts, man, I hate my cousin, man. I gotta deal with him on holidays. It's the only time I get to see him. And he was like, it's on holidays. And they was like, tell us some more about him. So you don't like him? Man, I hate that mother. And because he hated it so much, they like, whoa, calm this down. We could use this guy. He could bring him out and shit, we'll take out both of them. So that's how serious it was. He was so stupid, he didn't even realize, but his hate for 50 made it to the point where it was almost like, okay, we got it now. We got everything we need. So the situation became a very difficult street situation. Jimmy was heavy in the streets at that time. Fifth is in a position he can't do these things in the streets. Fifth is in a whole different box. Y'all have no idea. But Fifth can't move like that in the streets. It's too much exposure. It's too much business attached to everything. If he go down there in the street level and start doing things, that's going to mess up everything. And he was like, Fifth knows. He was like, man, y'all think these rich people don't know what's going on in the streets? And Fifth be like, man, I'm not going to mess up my bag for Jimmy. But once Lodi Mack decided to put his hands on Jimmy's son and slap him up, and rough him up and slap him and all this stuff. And he was a 16-year-old kid. That was not gonna go over well. G Unit tried to reach out to Jimmy and say, we don't respect that. That wasn't an order from us. Like we did not authorize anybody to do anything like that. And word got back that Jimmy was like, all right, well, we expect to see some type of discipline. Bring him to me, or I will extract the discipline. Now, because it was Yayo and Lodi Mack, Yayo, his mother's house got sprayed up with bullets. His sister was in there, his nephew was in there. They sprayed the house up full of bullets. Fortunately, nobody got hit, but the message was sent. That it's up. And they are not built for a war in the streets with Jimmy. Not at that time, not ever. So the other Jimmy had to get Jimmy. So you got Preem don't like you. Now you got Jimmy don't like you. These two will link up, and you're going to have the most dangerous war in the streets you could ever have in New York City. So everything had to change immediately. They weren't safe anywhere in New York. It was crazy now. You didn't put your hands on Jimmy's son. So Lodi Mack got arrested for it. That was what G Unit said. Okay. He was convicted for assault and went to go serve his time. G Unit thought this is suffice. All right, y'all got him. We doing jail, it's done and done, Jimmy. Like we ain't did nothing to him. He going to jail. Let that be it. That wasn't going to be the case. Lodi Mack was going to have to pay for that in his life, unfortunately. And once the day he got out, I only think he was out a couple of days. Once he was out, he was out. And it didn't take them long, right after the death of Lodi Mack. Yep, when they come and scoop up Jimmy and everything else, because now they know it's real. So Jimmy Iovine got involved from Interscope Records. Jimmy once again gets involved to solve another problem. So Jimmy Iovine springs into action. Because the only reason Jimmy Iovine got up wasn't because of 50 Cent. He could care less. It's the fact that 50 Cent is attached to Eminem. And Eminem could be with 50 Cent in New York and somebody come out there and start shooting. They could be recording in New York. Too much of a risk. I'm not going to take risking Eminem getting killed over something that could be taken care of very easy. So Once again, he didn't like the way Jimmy Iovine interfered in the game and 50 Cent, and he keep putting petty street stuff over money. And it ruined what they had built with the game. And it's like, we built this guy up. We could have been selling 8, 9 million records for years down the road. But he, after one album, decides to start a war with 50 Cent, inner war to destroy each other. And once that started, it all went downhill. Forcing people to pick sides and ruining the business model we put up. And Jimmy was the one really behind it. So Jimmy Iovine didn't like Jimmy Henchman was behind all of that. GU not and ruining the product and the brand. So this was going to eliminate his problem. Jimmy Henchman made some phone calls. Next thing you know, here come the feds. They come raining down. And I mean raining down. The federal government came raining down on Jimmy Henchman like you've never seen. Then they was like, there's no evidence really linking him to the situation. Jimmy was released from prison. Next thing you know, he was back in prison. They came and got him again. Jimmy Iovine is a very powerful man. This is the same guy that got Murder Inc., got them investigated by the feds. Jay-Z and them knew that the raid was coming. And they cleared the office. Everybody was gone that day except for Murder Inc. Their offices are all connected. They all on the same floor in the building. They're in the Def Jam building. Well, they're all in one building. They're all on the one floor. Def Jam's here. The Rockefeller office, all of them in the same area. So Rockefeller got this like little small office space on one side. What is this? Oh, the battery. So they got their little space put off to the side. And everybody's office is connected. Murder Inc. office, Rockefeller office, DMX had his own Bloodline Records. They had their little office back there. So everybody had their little record label offices, connected in the same place. Now that this beef is kicking off, it's starting to be a problem. On that day, nobody from Def Jam was in the office. Nobody from Rockefeller was in the office. Murder Inc. were the only people in the office that day. When the raid went down and they grabbed Irv Gotti, nobody was in the offices. Jay-Z told everybody that the raid was coming. He told all the other rappers and everything, like, yo, don't come to the building. Like, don't be here. Like, we are not going to be here this weekend. Like, this Tuesday. Do not be here. Because they didn't want to be associated with what was coming out. He didn't even warn Irv that the raid was coming. Irv Gotti is your man's, and you didn't even warn him. Typical Jay, right? Somebody said that's exactly what Jay would do. Jay did exactly that. Jay-Z did exactly that. There was no other mincing of words. He did exactly that. Backdoored everybody. Pac was crazy enough to want to go to war with Jimmy Henchman. That would have not went well. That would have not went well for people. Now, when I said I would have been informed, if something would have happened with Jimmy, Jimmy got rappers, like a bunch of Haitian dudes out there. Like they watched how I did my truth behinds and everything. Like these dudes would reach out, literally, hit me up and be like, yo, young blood, you spoke the real, man. I gotta give you tip your hat to that. Man, but he was like that one part and such. Who was the rapper, D? I'm like, I don't know. And when I remember I showed the picture and somebody said they said his name, they knew dude. They was like, I know it. I know that dude. And he was like, yeah, man, he ain't know nobody. He was a rapper. He wasn't no real street dude like that. He was like his back got cut up. He got, he's been in a lot of wars, but it was all because of some chick or something. Dude, he's in prison. He did something he wasn't supposed to do, and they sliced him up. So dude was shot up, stabbed a whole bunch of times. It'll be a lot of people that wouldn't do anything to save you, but show up at your funeral. That's how it worked. They could have saved you and prevented you from dying, but they wouldn't care. If something would have happened with Jimmy, I would have heard from these dudes. They would have said, yo, guess who got touched up, bro? I ain't hear nothing, not a peep. That's why I was like, man, maybe they keeping this thing close to the chest. Like it's might be life or death or something. Because they'll be talking behind the scenes street stuff. The stuff you ain't gonna know on the internet. No, they had to get up out of there. They had police escorts, dog. Like security, like security detail. G Unit was moving through the city. It was bulletproof everything. And then they had them one time, like they were all dead to rights. They had Tony Yayo, like Yayo them was out of there. Because Yayo is 50s, like tired of the streets. So whenever he needs something done, he go through Yayo. So Yayo, man, Yayo ain't flipping on nobody. Yayo gonna take whatever bid comes his way. And he knows Yayo is loyal for life. I need to have that guy around forever because that guy can get everything done for me. But I got to keep that guy safe. You know what I'm saying? I got to take care of his family, make sure they good. So his auntie or his sister's house or whatever, sisters, nephews, and all them, just made sure all them was straight. more than his own family. Yeah, Fifth got a cousin, like they hit the lottery. You know, they had hit the lottery for like about 600,000 or whatever. And they went and they didn't quit their jobs. They went and used the money sparingly and enjoyed it, took vacations. And Fifth was like, that's what you do with the money. You don't, these people quit their jobs and get crazy with it. Yeah, Jimmy Henchman guys, they had Tony Yayo and them dead to rights. And I guess they guns jammed. And they was about to, you know, let off on them and they couldn't because the guns are jammed. Even though Tony Yayo and them was strapped. Yeah, once Chris Lighty died, he teamed up with Fat Joe and Terror Squad because he needed to team up with Terror Squad. He needed to. Because this thing with Jimmy was hot. Fifth needed some type of assistance. Now, when Fifth had the streets on lock, he had Bangum Smurf and Domination. When Domination was there and he had Smurf, like I said, they was running things. They had that whole section on lock. But Domination them had beef over there on South Side. They got some petty street stuff going on, right? Jimmy survived a lot of stuff back in the day. Back in the day, Jimmy Henchman was nothing to play with. When he first went to Rikers, he got that one little cut that you see from a razor. And the guy who did that would forever regret that. That man had a temper. And you did not want to upset Jimmy. And Tupac, this is why I was like, who said that? I don't know if I think it might have been Gene Deal said that Tupac owned Gene Deal. So I mean, he owed Jimmy Henchman some money, and he wasn't paying Jimmy. I'm like, Gene, who told you that? That's what was the most confusing thing I've ever heard in my life. I'm like, who told Gene Deal something as crazy as that? Tupac would owe Jimmy Henchman money? I'm like, first of all, Pac would never borrow any money from nobody. That's not how Pac moved. That's one. Two, Jimmy Henchman? I was like, He's rolling around with Jack. You don't need no money from Jimmy Henchman. Are you kidding me? Once I heard that, I was like, oh my God. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Out of the whole thing, that was just crazy. That make no sense. I'm like, he's rolling around with Jack. All of them got Rolexes on. Jack got enough money. Okay. No problem. All the celebrities go hang out with Jack. Jimmy was basically under Jack. Jimmy might wanted to manage Tupac, and Jack would have probably suggested that, like, hey, this is my guy Jimmy, man. You should let him manage. But Tupac wasn't leaving his manager. That was never going to happen. Plus, Tupac at that time didn't need management. He didn't. I mean, he was already good. He's in there. He's filming 2 movies while he's in New York. He's doing Above the Rim, and he's doing a movie called Bullet. And while he's doing that, he got a movie with John Singleton called Higher Learning. Then he gets arrested twice in New York. So Omar Epps is brought in. Because the studio didn't want to hire Tupac no way. John Singleton really fought to put him in there, but when Tupac was going through his legal troubles and all that, when he was trying to come out, he didn't want nothing to do with Tupac. He wouldn't answer his calls, didn't respond, didn't write him in jail, nothing. So he just basically wrote Tupac off. So that's why Tupac was bitter to him when he was bitter at John when he got out of jail. It was like, oh, okay, it's F me. All right, I get it. Yeah, that was his whole movement, though. No. Right, the whole thing went left. I already exposed, like, everybody should know by now what happened in Quad City, right? And how that had nothing to do with Biggie, had nothing to do with Puffy, had nothing to do with no Andre Harrell, and all these lies that other people insinuate. Now, because Gene Deal don't like Puffy, and this is the thing, like, if you don't like a man, that's cool, but you don't lie on a man. Okay, if you know this man had nothing to do with the Tupac thing in LA, how all of a sudden he gonna know what they were gonna do? I'm like, so you gonna sit here and tell me he owed Jimmy Henchman money, one. Then Jimmy Henchman's the type that's gonna sit there and tell Diddy, Sean Combs, who he got more money than damn near, and more power to the streets, definitely. He finna tell him his plans to harm somebody or rob somebody, and they gonna be in the room. I'm like, first of all, Andre Harrell ain't never been a gangster in his life, ain't never done no gangster shit. He is not gonna be there if Jimmy Henchman is about to plan something to be a robbery of somebody. Diddy ain't gonna be there. And they damn show Jimmy what would Jimmy? And this is where I'm like, I'm baffled by Jimmy. Because I'm like, Jimmy, you've been a street dude forever. You know damn well they ain't finna share something like that with somebody who ain't no street dude. Why would they tell them? What would Jimmy be like? Yo, we from the jackpot, so y'all just be cool. And they, yeah, okay, yeah. Man, they've been like, man, I'm up out of here. I ain't finna be here for that. I don't want to know what's gonna happen or nothing. I don't want to be around none of that. You think Diddy would have been there? No, that's Jimmy Iovine, buddy. That Jimmy is the one that took down Supreme and Jimmy Henchman and everybody took down Murder INC. That's Jimmy Iovine. That's how all that happened. If you're a threat to Eminem, you go. That's what it's all about. Are you a threat to Eminem? Oh, you got to go. 50, Eminem gonna be in New York. I don't need y'all trying to get 50. And then y'all hit my artists that I care about. Hell no. Yeah, Fifth is crazy. We all know that. Fifth is crazy. Jimmy's even crazier. That's just how it is. Oh no, Fifth is a street dude for real. Like, you ain't gotta worry about that. He ain't gonna care one bit. That's where you wrong, apprentice. That's where you wrong about 50. If you bag 50 up in a situation like that, Fifth will go back to being a street dude for real. His compassion level is completely different than what you know. He's comfortable around street dudes more than he around any squares or anything like that. Fifth don't like to hang around squares. He really don't. Buddy, this trolling on social media is not even, you think 50 Cent really run his Instagram account? He got a team of people that do it. Unless he sees something, he'll say, hey, do this. He'll put a comment under it. When he do post something, he'll have his team go find the photos and do all that. He got a team of people that do that, dog. And you know what it does? It keeps him in the search algorithm, so he handle business. But if something becomes a situation, like a real serious problem, yeah, then it becomes something different. Fifth had ties in the streets with dudes because of his affiliation. He was affiliated with Mano, the people that was behind Fab. 50 had connections in the streets with real street dudes. It's just that when you go at it with people that they got to deal with it every day, because they ain't got the money to just leave New York and go live someplace else. These people can't just pull up and say, we out of here. These people got to stay in the trenches. But at that time, I wouldn't want to go to war with him. Pac was crazy. Pac was, to tell you how crazy Pac was. And well, they call it crazy. He was fearless, recklessly fearless. That dude would go out in a blaze of glory if he had to. Not really. Well, if you want to look at it from that way, it's like it is what it is. No, I never see that. I never seen it get to that point. I wouldn't let anybody like Charleston White talk to me about Tupac. What the hell would Charleston White know about Tupac? He don't know nothing about rap now. That dude was probably on crack back then anyway. He don't know a damn thing about no Tupac. No, those narratives never changed. But Tupac was insane. Like once he found out the truth, he knew what was going on. The only thing that he did was perpetrate to tear down Biggie's fame because they was Biggie homeboys. That's what these Biggie's guys, these Biggie homeboys, Biggie them shot me. He was like, he knew it wasn't true at that point, but he was running with the narrative. Like they all associate to destroy Biggie's brand, and tear him down. And tear down Puffy, all of it. So because Puff them was there with Andre Harrell and all of, he just put all of them in the boat. but he was taking on Suge beef. Because Suge had beef with Puff at the time, so this was perfect. Like, yeah, see, told him. Puffy did it. Whenever he started mentioning Jimmy, Suge told him, like, don't nobody know who he is. Nah, you say Puffy. Because they all friends anyway. Andre Harrell, Puffy, they were all there, wasn't it? It's all the same. All the same. But now you say them, everybody know who they is. And then you basically talking about him anyway. So Pac was gonna mention him on the first album. Suge didn't want that to happen. So he was like, well, this your album, Suge. That's why All Eyes on Me wasn't really his album. And he never looked at that as his album. The album Tupac wanted to make is Machiavelli. He wanted to get all that out the way. Let's get it all out the way now. And he had another 2 albums he was doing, his introspective album and with Letter to My Firstborn. And right, I'll never call you bitch again. And he had that one. Yeah, he had that You Ain't Never Had a Friend Like Me. He had a lot of songs for the other album. That Who Do You Believe In with the Jamiroquai beat. Who do you believe in? I put my faith in God, blessed, I'm still breathing. And even though it's hard, that's who I believe in. So he was going to put the introspective album out. And that was it. He was taking a break. He was going to focus on these movies. He had all these big movie deals coming his way after Gang Related. He had the Mace Windu role. Tupac was going to be Mace Windu. Well, the thing is, I don't think he would have got the role anyway, not over Samuel Jackson. But the role, he had to shot to audition for Mace Windu. I just don't think, I think Pac was a little too short for what they wanted to pull off. But to see Tupac with a lightsaber, what side, motherfucker? You see Tupac in there fighting the Emperor. That would have just been, that would just took us out of the movies. I'd have been cracking up. He'd been like, nah, he ain't gonna be trained. What, that motherfucker too old. Yeah, to see him in there. So his thing was, I did the albums for Suge. I'm out my deal. So Suge know, man, I got to keep Tupac around. So he was like, well, you got $3 million you owe. $3 million. What are we going to do about this? You still owe $3 million. What we going to do about all this? So that's when Pac realized, oh, wow. This is a business for real. He ain't do nothing off love. He thought, Suge got my back. It's all love. Wasn't all love at the end. Well, he owed Suge because Suge was charging everything, just like all these other artists. You're not making money. You're on a loan and you're making more debt. All those trips and stuff they would pay for, he was charging Tupac for all this stuff. He was charging Tupac for he bought his mom a house. He wanted to get her a house. He had to move her out the crib. He's like, first thing, I got to get my mom a house. Suge got the house. He did all that. He was charging Tupac for that. He charged Tupac for these things, and Tupac didn't even own any of it. He was paying, Tupac money was paying for Nate Dogg's child support. When they did an audit, this is why Tupac wanted to get an audit to know what does he owe. And they was like, we're going to get it for you. It takes time. We're going to get that for you. But this is why they were stalling, and he fired the lawyer, David Kenner, when he was trying to get his own publishing established. Yeah, I heard reports that they had like this. Tupac had like a $200 million deal. I mean, it's great, people on the internet, to believe stuff like that. But no, he had a deal, but it was never that kind of money. But Tupac was the biggest artist in the world at that time. So when the biggest artist in the world and number two is Biggie, and you got both of them side by side. Oh yeah, Tupac was excited. You know, he would watch the Bulls and Michael Jordan, man. Michael Jordan, man. He was like, I knew he was gonna come back. That was the crazy part when Jordan came back to play. He was like, Tyson's back, Jordan's back, and Tupac's back. He was like, Mike left, and can nobody take the throne? And they wasn't representing it right. He told Antonio this. And that's why Antonio, my guy, man, rest in peace, Tony. Antonio, man, he was met Pac at the Mondrian Hotel. And he told Pac, he said, anybody been in the Mondrian, you already know, all white rooms. So he met Pac at the Mondrian. So they go to the Mondrian, they chilling. Pac was out there, the Outlaws, all of them. Antonio was a rapper. So he told him, he was like, he was explaining game, spitting game like a muff. And he was like, man, y'all held me down, Chicago. Everybody was holding me down, playing my records. Man, I'm telling you, me against the world. Y'all don't know how important that was, bro. Like, man, y'all held me down. And he was like, that's all I asked people to do was hold me down. You know, and he was like, when I was down, when nobody represented hip hop right, y'all put this fake Biggie persona, you know, like this Don in New York to run the whole rap game. And I'm like, hip hop is going in the wrong direction. It's going way off course. It's like, this dude is not that. He's like, this dude was under me. He's supposed to be in Thug Life. He's supposed to be in my crew. And he was like, y'all got this dude. Y'all falling for this. This dude ain't no popper, no player. What y'all doing? So Antonio was like, man, I like Biggie. You know, like, dude could flow. He was like, man, he could rap. But he was like, man, so could this nigga. My niggas are outlaws. Look, my nigga right here, boo. He rapped that nigga under, rap these niggas up. These niggas is from Jersey. These real, they can rap. You know, so Pac was like, nigga, everybody rap. It's about who they want to put the spotlight on. So yeah, he was, and Pac like, I never say I'm the best rapper. But you know when I'm rapping, it's real. He's like, you see my dude rap? We real. We real. You getting the real when you hear me. He was like, that's why they wasn't repping it right. In basketball, Michael Jordan retired, right? He stepped away. Who was repping the game? Who was winning the championships? All right. Who? Elijah won. Elijah won. It's like Elijah won. He can't hold with Michael Jordan, dude. Tell me one Elijah won interview. When they interview him, what network sat down and said, we finna do this big special on Elijah One? Tupac is a fool. He's like, I'm not dissing, I'm just saying. They couldn't hold that light. I knew he was gonna come back. That was his thing. He coming back. Oh, he said they were gonna win a championship. Even after they lost, when he came back, he was like, Mike, he's like, they just came back, they lost the Shaq. He's like, they lost the Shaq, and they like, yeah, we got him. He was like, Mike finna come back and destroy these niggas. Destroy him. Because he know they pretenders. That's what Antonio, he was like, Shaq is Biggie, right? And they all think they winning. Mike down. He was like, now Mike got what? He got Scotty, he got Dennis Rodman now. He was like, watch. Watch what's finna happen. He was all into that, man. He was watching the game. Right? He's like, watch. He never got to see it happen. The season started, I think, yeah, he was gone before the season kicked off. I think he died before that all happened. So Antonio, man, rest in peace to Antonio, man. He died in like 2000. He died in 2017, I believe. I think he died in 2017. No crime or nothing. He had some type of problem that he always had with his like something. It causes like pancreatitis thing. So he got his pancreas is always a problem, and it's affected his organs or something. I don't know, but Antonio, man, good dude. He was just always trying to be a rapper, man. He used to rap with Common, open up on his shows. Yeah. So at the same time, all of the legends and everything that happened street level, people never really fell into. They never fell into that, super street mentality of, being in the hood. Like Pac was wild, man. But like he said, everybody, they never had representation while they were gone. Like he felt now he back, they finna have proper representation. And All Eyes on Me wasn't even really out yet at the time when Tony on them was hanging out with him. He thought he was gonna get signed to Death Row and Pac and all that. So he was like, I'm gonna be down with Tupac then. I'm gonna be signed with Pac. And every time he went out to LA, he would try to kick it and get up with Pac, and then Pac had changed his numbers. So he tried to get up with one of the Outlaws because he was cool with one of them. And he was like, yeah, man, Pac, man, he want to listen to you shit. Liam, he had the CDs. Back then he had the CDs. He had his number on there and stuff where they could reach him. And he left his CD, but Pac ended up, like that last time he talked to Pac had called him on the phone. And he's like, man, Pac talked to me for like 2 hours. He was going through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was stressed out. He was like, man, these fools actually thinking I'm going back to jail. He was like, the time I talked to him when he first got out and the time me and him talked on the phone, he said, we didn't talk anything about music. It was the most, he was going through things. He was like, man, they just stressing the nigga out. And he was like, and I talked to him in August. He's like August or September, like right before that shooting happened. I talked to him probably a little bit before that happened. And he was like, because when I was in LA, I didn't see him, and I gave him the CD. And when I gave him the CD to like one of the dudes that knew him, that knew the Outlaws, they part of their crew, he's like, I met up with them. I did my shows. He's like, I was opening up rapping at the comedy club. And that's when the dude was there from the road. Was like, oh yeah, you gotta know Pac and all that. Yeah. And they got it, and he's like, Pac called me. He got my CD, he got my number that was on the CD. And he called me and he was like, what's up, Tom? It's like nothing. Just stressing. So he was like, Pac talked to me for like 2 hours. 2 hours straight. He was mad at his own relatives, though. They were stressing him. Like he had his cousins living with him, and they were stressing him out over something. So he was having something going on with his relatives, and they was getting on his nerves. So he was just going through it, and he just talked to him. He was like, man, we talked. It had nothing to do with music. This dude, we talked about basketball. We talked about politics. He was like, he talked politics for like a whole hour. He was like, I never saw somebody. He was like, I'm like, is he running for office? This is like, he was thinking like, this is so different from the Tupac I talked to in the beginning before he even recorded All Eyes on Me. Talking about Shaq was Biggie and he was Michael Jordan and he's gonna come back. So yeah, he was like, yeah, they not repping it right. That's why Jordan came back. Look at boxing. And he was like, look who the champs now in boxing. They ain't repping it right. So now he's like, you don't know who the champ in boxing, right? Now Mike Tyson back. Tyson's out. Tyson finna take over. Like he's like, man, this is it. We back. The real finna come take over. So yeah, he was all hyped. He was so hyped when he first got out. He had all that energy. He was like, at this time, he was just like, call him back. And he was like, at that time, he was like, yeah, he was like, look, man. He was like, man, look, straight like this, and this is 100. Mm-hmm. Oh, I know you saw that, Corey. I saw that game. I was like, woo, everybody back. And they look different. They look mad different with everybody back. That's what I'm saying. That Knicks gonna end up playing the 76ers. It's gonna look a lot different. A lot different. I didn't know everybody was back. Kelly Oubre back, Maxey back. I was like, woo. That was a good game. No. No, he was saying about politics and about doing charity and community work. And he was like, man, the politicians, man, he was like, look, if we can get if we get our cities and our communities like where we from in order, he was like, man, this is monumental. You know, like we could really change the world for real. We got the power to do that through hip hop. That's what he was saying, through the music, through the entertainment. We not using our vehicles right. He was like, dude, we could throw a free concert, one free concert in our hood, to use that money and put that into building a community center. One show. He said, we do one show. Every rapper do that in their hometown. Do one show. You know how much money that generates? We do one free show. You don't like we giving that back to the hood. Y'all going out buying the CDs, all that. We're gonna give y'all one show. We'll give y'all 1 hour performance. You know what I'm saying? And give y'all our sweat and tears. Y'all get to see a free show one time. In the hood. They can take all the proceeds, donate that to centers, everything. That'll keep that thing done. And we'll do that like once a year. We do one free show, pay for everything, man. It'll pay to keep the center going, everything. So he was like, man, we could just do that. He was like, man, that'd be crazy. He's like, imagine we get 30 rappers, right? 30 of the top rappers, they go right in their hood, their neighborhood, they do one free show, and they all build a community center. Right? And we teaching, we feeding, we got education. We doing all of this without the strength of the government. He's like, you know what's gonna happen? All them top politicians, they're gonna knock on the door. Hey man, I need you to support my party. I need you to be down with this. I need you to be down with this. And he was like, all right, this is how we get laws changed. This is how we get that movement. Because they know we got the community. So Pac was all about getting the community together first, but this is how you get them. You got to actually do something. He was like, man, they tired of being lied to. And we at that state right now in 2026. Still being lied to. Woo! Outlaw. $100 on it. Outlaw didn't want to bet. He didn't believe they could beat Charlotte. They got blown out by Charlotte. And look what y'all did to them. And Outlaw whole thing is, oh, we coasted. So Yeah, man. Anthony passed in like 2017. I remember I got that call. It's a lot of Chicago rappers, man, that passed away. Well, they gave up on rap, man. They just wasn't gonna happen for them. You know, they couldn't get a deal. From what I was told, Jimmy set it up. Jimmy set the whole thing up, not Jack. But he said, look, Jimmy did that to Pac because, one, he violated Jack. He felt he violated Jack with that whole interview he did, calling them out in the papers. It was like, that ain't what we do. Because he mad at Jack. And they trying to call him and explain to him what's going on, but Pac ain't listen. Once he made bail, he was just going crazy. So they was going to take all his jewelry, strip him down, jacket. And they just didn't know how crazy Tupac actually was. So, like, Pac is strapped in New York. Imagine that. You got a gun case. All right, you got a gun case already in New York. You've already been arrested for guns in New York. Outlaw is hoping, wishing, and praying they don't play the 76. Hey, they right by that 6 spot, bro. I told you they coming, and they get that 6 spot, man. Y'all better run. Because I think Charlotte finna beat Boston. I think they're going to beat Boston. My own team cost me yesterday. My Pistons. I bet against the Pistons. The Pistons was like, oh, you finna pull that again on us? All right. I thought for sure they was going to have Minnesota win that. I saw the 1.5 points. I was like, this is a trap. Oh, don't worry, Outlaw. We'll be going live for the Knicks and OKC tonight. Oh, it's already on my big screen.
You know the business one again. You know the business one again. Come on. You know the business one again. For real. Because all we do is win. Let's go. Stop playing.
Victor, stop playing. Man, we refuse to lose, man. I swear, this team refused to lose. The defensive shutdown of Minnesota That was like the best defensive game we done did this season. The way we shut them down, dog, that was crazy. No, when Pac got shot, right? They set it up to be robbed, and he pulled out, so they had to fire. That's how they felt. Like dude had tried to pull out. He tried to draw down on us. So we let off. Took his jewelry, and then they fled. Then Tupac's cousin, that's how he found out everything that happened. His cousin's locked up with the dude who was homeboys is in jail, like he told you. His cousin told him, like, man, what went down? Why? The whole nine. No, that's just how it was, man. So when you see people moving weird, that's how it was. They was moving weird. So no, 50 Cent and Tupac are two entirely different people. Fifth is, they both crazy, but Tupac got more compassion and love than Fifth got. Fifth ain't got compassion and love. He got resentment and anger. He relates to that more. It's a pain of loss. Blue, he resented the fact that y'all had y'all mama with y'all. Y'all had your daddy. He ain't had that. It altered his life. So when he see people that got it, he be like, man, F y'all. It's a resentment. He hates y'all. Fifth got a bitterness to him. He got a shystiness. A real shystiness. So I talked to Ro in his chat because Ro's scared to come up here now. He missed it. They big plans. Cade is out. Yeah, first place is gone. Y'all might be in second, but the season's over now. He ain't gonna be in no shape. I'm like, dude, you gotta deal with the Pistons. We a whole unit around here. If the Pistons would have lost 4 of the last 5, we've been seeing road every week. Road would have been in here every week. Every day. Oh, man, another loss for the Pistons, huh? Yeah, I'm the one that put him on the all ball. Now everybody's talking about all ball. All ball be telling the truth about y'all. That's what y'all can't take. No, Jimmy told him, like, look, man, you ain't got no money for no war in the streets. So he told Stretch from Live Squad. You know, Live Squad, them, they know Jimmy. These people know Jimmy times 1,000. So they was like, whoa, this Jimmy now, dudes. So they was like, dude, they was just gonna rob you. That's when they came back like, dog, you shot his homeboy. That Stretch dude. When I got, he's like, dog, we was just gonna rob him. Because your homeboy wouldn't shut up. We sent how many messages telling him to stop, shut up. He wouldn't stop. Kept talking. So Stretch was trying to keep the peace. Like, let me talk to him. Let me try to keep the peace. He don't understand how this works. He real hot right now. He emotional. Plus, he been shot. He recovering. Tell that boy to lay down. Like nothing's finna come for him. But now he's super paranoid. So everybody on 24-hour watch. The whole Outlaws, they all over there with pistols. Pac got a pistol. Shot and everything, he still got a pistol. And he rotating from people's houses. He couldn't go to Jada Pinkett house. She offered, but they said, nah, they know where you stay in New York. And they know, like, oh, he gonna be over there. So he would rotate from house to house. He would go to Keisha's house that he was with. And then he would rotate over to Jasmine Guy house. Mm-hmm. Man, he stayed at Jasmine Guy house and then he stayed at Keisha's house. He was doing both after he got shot. He was staying at Keisha's house when he was doing the movie and everything. He's filming Bullet and he was filming Above the Rim. Biggie hung around some real dangerous people. Like, you gotta understand, Little Kim hung around dangerous people. Like, these were Biggie guys, like D-Rock, Gutter. That was Biggie streets. You know, like those two right there were the cornerstone of his street dudes. And see, Gutter, he was locked up doing this Tupac thing. By the time Gutter came on, Pac was gone. And Gutter was around for like 6 months. Because remember, Gunner took the case so that Big could walk and go and do that rap thing. He was, man, you better go and make this rap thing work. When he took that case in North Carolina, yeah, D-Rock took that case. So when D-Rock came home big, he was recovering from the car accident. So he was only around Big for like 4 months, maybe. But D-Rock is his guy, him and Gutter. P. Rilla, who is he? That's P. Rilla is a rapper from New York that came out there with what's his name? Freck Billionaire. Both of them came to New York. Came to Vegas to be rappers and wanted to sign with Floyd Mayweather. And Freck Billionaire is one guy he signed to rap. Yeah, he ended up leaving. Like, man, Floyd ain't doing nothing without a record career. And P. Rilla just hung around. He always like Floyd's sidekick. It'd be Floyd and the other guy with the wavy head and the jewels. That's P. Rilla. Rilla a cool dude. It's a lot of people jealous on him, but because it's like, what do P. Rilla do? Like, he don't do nothing with boxing, you know. So when every time you see Floyd, you see P. He used to be called Money Chinchilla Rilla. But every time you see Floyd, you see P. Rilla. Yeah, people was like, that's his gay lover. Fifth be like, oh, that's his gay lover. P. Rilla. I was like, man. It's like, you ever seen a guy around another guy that much? It was like, well, what about you and Yayo? I don't be around Yayo like that. This nigga's going on skiing trips. So they used to always make this joke about him and P. Rilla. That's who P. Rilla is. So, but Rilla a cool dude, man. He allegedly is banging Gil's baby mama. He's weighing that out, Gil. What time is it? He might be hitting it right now while we talking, Gil. He might be hitting it right now as we talk. Damn. Yeah. Yep. The Harlem Hot Boy. Yeah, the Harlem Hot Boy. P. Rilla, Money Chinchilla Rilla. The Harlem Hot Boy. He said, so basically, Stretch brother, who was there when Jimmy told Stretch about Pac need money to go to war, was lying. No, he wasn't lying about that. He told him. He was on the phone and he had called one of the outlaws and told them, he was like, man, they said, man, don't go to war out here in these streets unless you got your money up for a war. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no war money. They got money for a war over here. You ain't got that money, don't even start nothing. So he was sending messages back, calling him. But that's how but they know he's from New York. He's from there. Jimmy and all these dudes, they all are connected. The Haitian dudes over there, yeah, they do business with them. This live squad, they live here. They know what's what. So yeah, they gonna be in the streets. They gonna be communicating with the people that actually did this, found out what's going on, what. So now Pac believe he's paranoid as hell anyway. So now he's thinking he was with it. He set me up. They all know each other. Matter of fact, thug life is over. Everybody out. We started something new, just the outlaws. Everybody from Jersey, y'all down. Everybody from New York, cut them off. No, he didn't tell him that in jail. That's what they say he told him that in jail. He didn't tell him that in jail. He told him in jail that it wasn't Biggie now. He told him what went down. Nah. So you got to understand there's two different instances. Okay, because after he was shot is entirely different. The first time he went to jail, he had to go through processing and everything else. So when the Quad City shooting happened, he was recovering. He was in an infirmary because he was already shot. So the first time he got arrested for the guns in New York, right? So he had to go to jail for that. And once that happened, after the gun situation happened, he was arrested again for the rape thing. So now the rape thing happened and he had to go through the courts, the bail, all this, right? So once they separated the case, Jack was in a separate court and he was the only one being charged. Jack and the other guy, they threw everybody else's case out completely. Everybody else's case got thrown out, and the only other person case that was still pending and it was still processing was Tupac. That was it. Tupac and his homeboy, who had nothing to do with anything. Like, it was ridiculous. So they were the only two still left on the case. Like, Jack and them had a separate case, and then their case just gone. So that's when Pox is like, oh, it's a setup, it's a conspiracy. Jack is a snitch, he's an informant. So that's when all of that came up, and he working with the feds and blah, blah, blah. And he just was going off. And that led to the whole incident of the robbery. Wasn't supposed to be a shooting. It was end up being a shooting. Jack is unhappy because this brings a lot of heat on him. And now everybody blaming Jack. Jimmy is being cussed out by Jack about this situation because it's not what he wanted. And now it's a big mess and got his name all messed up to the point where he basically like, look, things getting hot, I'm finna blow. So anyway, Jack going through what he going through. And now you seeing all the blowout from it. Pac is now shot. He's recovering at home. So Pac was at Jasmine Guy's house when the phone call came through. They knew what Pac was. That's what I'm saying. If he knows, if Stretch, if they wanted to get Pac, they could have got Pac. Like they wanted him out of there. They knew where he was. He was still in New York. They knew where he was at. They can get him at any time. They could just rush or spray the crib, anything. They know where he at. Stretch is like calling the house because he got the number to call Jasmine Guy's house, and he's letting them know what's what. And Pac is like listening to the messages he's giving back. And it's like, yeah, you know, it is what it is. But it wasn't like he cut Stretch off immediately. You know, he was still in communication with them after that. And then it was like he was just acting funny. Like every time he would come around, it was like he was saying, like, man, you know, we got to piece it up with them. Yeah, you know, like this was not supposed to be a hit. And Pac just like, yeah, like, I don't trust him. And that's just how it was. He didn't trust him. He ain't trust nobody in Live Squad no more. He had nothing to do with him. It was like, look. He didn't want nothing to do with Stretch no more. So when Pac was in jail, he was in infirmary while he was there in the Rikers. He had to go before they could transfer him. He had to be well enough to be transferred. So he spent his earlier times in Rikers, he spent most of that in an infirmary because he was still recovering from his gunshot wound. So when people start making that inclination that, oh, we went there, we was chatting with him, and he told him this, and Pac was out. I'm like, do y'all realize what was going on? It's like Pac had to go to infirmary for like about a month because he was still recovering from being shot. I was like, geez. I know, and I'm glad she started to do that, come out and show herself because people could see her and hear her talk. I was glad for Vlad to get that, but that confirmed Vlad works for the feds. That confirms he works for the feds. You would have never gotten out. You know how many people wanted to interview Ayanna Jackson? We talking CBS, NBC, all the major networks, big bags. That woman was not to be found. And here she comes. Right back around on the internet talking about ta-da! DJ Vlad. I'm like, Vlad? How could Vlad get an interview with somebody like that? That nobody else could get. Yeah, he introduced him. And it was Jack's club. Like nothing really go down in there without Jack's approval. You know, like he run the club. Like Jack had a relationship with Madonna, everybody, because Jack got money. You know what I'm saying? Most of these celebrities be broke, some of them. Like Madonna had her own money, but a lot of people be broke. Especially, it's just like now, black actors and stuff, they broke. You know, Amari Hardwick right now is broke. He fired everybody, got a whole new agency now, so he might come back to power and do some voice work. You know, it's crazy. The game is foul. We're gonna talk about that more on the Patreon, what happened to Ghost. He didn't like where his agency was taking him. And when agencies start making changes and they're not really caring about black people, they bounced and they went to a new thing. But we're going to talk about that on the Patreon. Jimmy and 50 beef, if Jimmy gets out of jail, Jimmy going to have to be cool. If he gets crazy out here, and let them, be with your family, man. Enjoy your time with your family. All that revenge and street stuff, man. Dude, you too old for that. Street time is over. Don't nothing come from it but death or jail. When you're a record executive trying to still be a gangster, it's like, what's the point? You hustle because of the hope of no more options but this. This is all I got left is the game. Now you got people 30 years old trying to sell drugs. It's like, I'm going to start selling drugs next week. Yeah, it's a good job. I'm going to start small. Then I'm going to work my way up the ladder. It's like, dude, what's wrong with these people out here? Drugs is never designed for you to be selling them full time. People crazy. So, anyway, I'm going to holler at y'all later. We will be going live for the Knicks and OKC game. Hopefully, I'll see y'all back. Hopefully, Outlaws didn't forget the game was on. Yeah, let's see him do that. Let's see him come back for that.